Urgot wears a twisted frown. I'm afraid I still can't help you find residence here. Lord Redrick's son was deemed a hollow-born. This makes circumstances even more fraught than before. Tell me about Lord Redrick. He comes from a line of nobles who have defended these lands since Adair times. Redrick II was an early supporter of Deerwood and independence during the Revolution, and the current Lord's father perished in the Saints' War. Hollowborn began appearing in the Deerwood shortly after the war's end. Lord Redrick has taken it upon himself to purge the curse from Gilded Vale. His measures have been severe but unnecessary. Unfortunately, it may not have been enough if the bells were any indications. The Saints' War. Our age's most egregious example of man's madness. 15 years ago, the people of Red Saras decided that Waidwen, the living saint, was the literal incarnation of the god Eothas. Urgot wrinkles his pinched nose. This supposed saint took it upon himself to liberate the Deerwood, supposedly from allegiances to less worthy gods, but I've never known any army to conquer a land for its people's own good. The war lasted about a year, and you can guess what the year did to the worship of Eothas in the Deerwood. Lord Redrick's forebears had all been Eothasians, but after his father fell defending us from those fanatics, he personally saw that the temple of Eothas here in town was shut down. He points at a few ruined walls near the tree. If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to ask. It's important that everyone in Gilded Vale understands our rules. Oh, you already read that. I'd like to know more about Gilded Vale. We are a frontier village, as are most settlements in the Deerwood. Gilded Vale hasn't grown much since its establishment in the colonial days, and the last 15 years have seen our population shrink further. He takes in the ramshackle houses and half-fallen fences, hence our recruitment of fresh settlers. Why has Gilded Vale's population been shrinking? Waidwen's legacy, of course. Many women have had difficulty bearing healthy children of late. A few years ago, Lord Redrick decreed that no mothers of Hollowborn are to be allowed in Gilded Vale. His mouth tightens into a firm line. His lordship dealt swiftly with the objectors. It may be harsh, but if it purges us of this curse, is it not worth it? Tell me about those ruins behind the tree. That's what's left of the temple of Eothas. His lips pucker. Lord Redrick forbade worship of the dead god after the Saints' War. It's been abandoned for almost 15 years, and there are plans to rededicate it to Berath, the god of life and death. Enough about Gilded Vale. You'll get to know more of the town well enough as you explore, I'm sure. Speak to Urgot if you have in need of instruction. Keep out of trouble.
Right.
Oh, here's Eder. She's so hot.
Were you looking for someone in that tree? I could introduce you.
Looking for anyone who can help me feel better. Oh, is that like an invitation? He gives an understanding nod as he takes a long drag from his pipe. My condolences. He exhales and turns his attention away, watching the village around him. The most unfortunate thing about him is just so bushy. Yeah, what does he say? And the man smiles broadly. Welcome to our lovely village. Where's the, I thought it was this lady over here. Oh. Scattered between the roots are bracelets of twine and bead, wilting flowers, and notes half erased by the rains. Oh, we don't get to talk to her until like in our dreams or something, right? Let me if I remember correctly. Blood moss. I saw someone go into the temple. Papa says we're not supposed to. Beneath the vines are crude carvings of a sun rising over 3 stars. As you near, you feel a vibrant history contain the essence of this man's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you, reach out for the soul. And this is what I like also about this game is like you can do this whole soul reading thing, and sometimes some of the stories are pretty fascinating. You see a pennant waving tall and sluggish in the wind, a rising sun embroidered on the banner, the vanguard of a small troop of paladins. The atmosphere is buoyant, if restrained, and their armor has not yet been tarnished by the elements. This expedition is fresh, young, filled with zest and zeal. At their head stands a commander, awkward in full armor but determined in step. Despite the excitement of his fellows, he does not smile. There's a twist to his mouth, his countenance grim. He throws up a hand, halting his troop. Silence falls among them, revealing a dark thunder. Is the am I dropping frames? Deep and low. He orders them to ready their weapons and spread out. Okay, looks good right now. Eyes dart from horizon to horizon, necks twisting to see the source of the sound. In the distance, dust and lightning rise from the ground as Stygian clouds race towards them overhead. The soldiers stand, only the staccato movement of their breath betraying their nerves. The commander closes his eyes, calling a blessing down on his troop. Invigorated, invincible, they wait as the enemy draws closer, poised to attack. Barat's bell. You see 4 people gathered by the door to the inn. Their raised voices and chopping gestures suggest an argument reaching its climax. The first figure raises his hands for calm. His face is partially obscured by a hood, but his height and stature suggest an elf.
I meant no offense. Let's put this matter to rest over a round, shall we? My treat.
Hoping to soothe our pride with a few Adira coppers, eh? We don't need your coin.
The others, the 2 folkmen and an elven woman, don't look convinced. The woman crosses her arms. She spits at his feet. Ooh, a fight. One of the other men glares at the blood elf. His eyes are red from drink, but his gaze is focused. You've got a lot of gall, mocking us in our own village. We don't take ill treatment from foreigners, especially not Aedirans.
Go on. Say it again. I'm itching for an excuse.
The second man thrusts his chin at the elf. He stinks of sour ale.
Fie, you're itching for the kindling touch of your sister, you cocksmither!
I'll cut that barrel-looking tongue out of your head.
A collective cry of outrage rises from the 3 locals. The second man snarls.
This is a misunderstanding. I didn't say whatever it is you think I said. We've nigh quarrel.
Horror and shock paint themselves across the elven man's face in broad, hasty strokes. He plants his feet, something surly and raw flickers through his eyes.
That's where you're wrong.
The elven woman draws a blade. I don't think attacking him is such a good idea. The three drunks scowl at you. And why is that? I don't have enough perception and intellect. Usually I go for the perception, you know, social skills, stuff like that. But going brute force with this character. Because you'll have to deal with me. They look at each other. One of the men gives the other two a warning shake of his head before turning to you. We're done for now. Oh, we don't have to fight him. But this one better watch his step around here because we're not going anywhere. With a final scowl at the elf, he turns to leave. These... that is what he was saying. As the three stumble away, the elf turns to you. The tension almost gone from his smooth face.
Not quite how I hoped to get to know the neighbors. Thank you for your timely assistance with that awkward situation.
You mean for making them piss their pants? You're welcome.
Well, that is one way of putting it.
He gives you a quick smile. He straightens his hood, and you note the remains of fraying embroidery on his gloves. His boots are caked with dirt, with the dirt of many months' travel, but the leatherwork beneath it is sturdy and fine.
I suppose introductions are in order after that little fiasco. Aloth Corvusser, at your service.
You better have more to say for yourself than that. He holds up his hands. Please, I didn't mean to drag you into this.
Well, I'm a wizard by training, and an adventurer by necessity. I was born in the Seathwood, part of the mainland of the Adir Empire, and both of my parents served the nobility, which afforded me an education for which I'm grateful. However, there were no open positions in those houses, and so I decided to seek new means in a new land. And how exactly did you come to be here?
I was traveling with a caravan, but we were separated near the summer ruins.
In Gwithan ruins? Well, those can be dangerous places during the best of times, which these are not. In half the locals would arrest you for trespassing and the rest would kill you outright. I'm curious, what exactly did you find there?
Several hooded figures operating a strange machine. Aloth goggles at you silently, apparently assessing your earnestness. Finally, he gives you a clipped, awkward laugh.
You do manage to find yourself in rather interesting predicaments.
Just how did you manage to cross those three drunks?
I'm afraid that was a matter of misunderstandings and mistranslations. It doesn't help that people in these parts remember their war with Adir like it was yesterday.
He tends his fingers and looks away. You did tell one man to go fuck his sister. That. He clears his throat and adjusts his sleeves. As I tried to tell them, they misheard me. Happens all too easily after a few pints. An accent doesn't help. I heard the same thing. For just a moment, he looks as if he's about to say something else. His expression brightens with mischief. But before he can speak, he forces a tight smile, biting his lips so hard you expect to see blood. Finally, his face relaxes, and he shakes his head. I should speak more clearly next time. My apologies. What are you doing in Gilded Vale?
An excellent question. I came looking for fresh air and cheap land. Instead, the magistrate gave me directions to the inn and a story about the local lord's expected wife. But I take it that's a familiar tale.
And you? Like you said, I'm also a settler.
Indeed. In that case, welcome to Gilded Vale, a true refuge from civilization.
His eyes flicker across you and your travel-worn clothing. You don't exactly look like a settler.
Begging your pardon, but neither do you. Yet, circumstances can find a person in the strangest of places.
A sly grin crosses his lips. I should get going.
As should I, given recent events. It's just as well. I've had enough of the watered wine and lumpy beds at the inn. They say even the owner tired of the place. Just up and left one day. It explains quite a lot about the upkeep. Perhaps I could join you. I could use a change of scenery, and I find it's better to travel in numbers.
So do I. Let's go then.
Excellent. I shall follow you.
Should we go, kill that bear now? Oh, let's see if Mr. Handsome here wants to go with us. Nope.
How may I help?
Yeah. Yeah.
How may I help? Lavaru Tion Secret!
Nice. This bear's getting fucked. How the spells to cast it. Yay.
Right.
Cave Coral. Oh, and we also have some stuff. Forgot Dex. He already has a hood. Oh, already has one too. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Right.
A figure drifts, suspended in the musty air of the cavern. Its form and features blur and twist in cascading ripples of incandescence. All these fancy words are tickling my throat. You feel its energy eddying about your limbs, filling them with a heavy chill. Reach out. You reach out a hand for the spirit. In the moment of contact, you feel as if you have been struck a blow, head reeling as you tumble helplessly into a waiting darkness. Light blooms at the edges of your vision. You feel the sun at your back and the weight of a bow in your hand. You know suddenly that you have come a long way from the vale, hunting deer. Now you're standing before a cavern, and the darkness extends far into the depths. Even so, your friend strides out before you, his red cloak flapping at his heels. You follow, heart hammering in your chest, as he leads you deeper into the cavern. There is a roar like thunder, echoing around you. Fear seizes you, casts you stumbling back towards the exit, towards light and escape. You see a glint of steel, and there is a sudden, terrible flash of agony behind your knee. You scream, stumble, fall. Your thoughts are chaos, lanced through with pain, but in a moment of terrible clarity, you see your friend look back from the mouth of the cavern, his dagger daubed in crimson to match his cloak. And then there is a great dark shape above you, and then there is more pain. The vision recedes, and you are thrown back into yourself with seemingly resentful force. The corpse lies at your feet, and the specter lingers. In the span of energy between you both, you feel a sense of questioning, of confusion, of anger. I met him on the road, your friend. A sudden lashing anger emanates from the spirit. Rage and grief seem to pour from the gleaming figure like smoke. I'll find him and see that he answers for what he's done to you. Yeah. For a moment, the spirit seems to burn bright, and your head fills with a sickly triumph. The spirit seems to weaken with the force of its own exaltation, growing fainter and fainter until you're alone once more. Olaf looks at you through narrowed eyes. Are you alright? You seemed lost just now. Yes, I'm fine. He folds his arms. That's good to know, but I don't suppose you could tell me what that was all about. I'm not really sure. It's just recently started happening. He raises an eyebrow. Indeed. At the risk of sounding patronizing, you should probably have that examined. He scratches his cheek. It's a shame that Lord Redrick's hanged half of Gilded Vale. The Valen dwarf might have known something about your condition. Let's move on. Vengeance from the grave. Mice crawl through eye sockets and over femurs. I think he killed him because he was trying to get the wife or something, right? Or maybe they both planned it. Sometimes you just don't know you marry. Now I wonder if we can get to kill him though. He was here before, so he's in the village now.
You must gather your party before venturing forth.
That was so loud, scared the shit out of me. Hi, Eater. Hello. Hello. Poor Afra, so worried about her child. I don't blame her. The Black Hound Inn's a fine place to sit and have a smoke. Good to see new faces around. Feels like the village gets smaller by the day. Wish we had some minstrels in here.
Welcome.
Hello and welcome to the innkeeper looks up. Oh, it's you. 10th told us what you did for him. It's such a relief to have him back. I can't thank you enough. Consider yourself a favorite of the house. Discounts on drinks, rooms. 10th said he wanted to whip up something nice for you. He's already back to work in the kitchen. So what would you like? Oh, he's in the kitchen. Could I see what you have for sale? I'm sure you'll find something to your liking. You have to find this cook in Durwood. Oh, nice. Yeah, I didn't know that you can loot everything, put it in your stash. Because I would have looted everything from those two from the beginning of the game. It doesn't last very long, huh? These the food buffs. Popular as a dinner entree in the Exitamu Plains, the exit middle rice pan has hundreds of regional family and family variations. Varied as it may be, the dish is often seen as a great unifier in a culture heavily stratified by social hierarchy. Philosophers and wealthy politicians may use rare spices or finer cheeses, but its basic ingredients and ease of cooking have made it a traditional meal for all Examital people. At Examital wedding celebrations, it is common for the couple's close friends and family to spend the previous day cooking enough Examital rice pan to feed everyone at the celebration to come. It's only 1 CP though, so no, it's 12 CP. Okay, we'll take 6. Darker's Rautai's cookies. What is this? I guess any buffs that we can get, you know, might as well. Rival only by Adirns in their love of sweet things, the Rautai count many delicious desserts and restaurants among their famed recipes. One of the most revered by wealthy connoisseurs around the world is known as the darkest Rautai chocolate cookie. It has become a courtesy gift among Rautai ambassadors, with many foreign dignitaries warmly receiving any Rautai delegation, simply in the hopes of receiving a batch of the revered treats. What about the pearlwood chicken? Pearlwood chicken is common among the settlers along the Pearl Coast and Defiance Bay, but its popularity has not spread far north or abroad. Local claims that the dwarves of Talanir were responsible for inventing the dish. Given the odd assembly of ingredients, often a notable feature of dwarven cuisine, many are inclined to accept the claim at face value. There are rumors that the Duke of Ozia has become fond of pearlwood chicken, supposedly using gray breast chickens imported, live all the way from Old Valia to suit his particular tastes. As the dish is not yet popular in the Valan republics, the citizens of Ozia are not sure if they should try to emulate the Duke's rumored style. will vigorously deny it to the foreigners. I'll buy some pearl wood chicken also. Okay, that should do it for now. Oh, and you can also hire adventurers. Should we hire one now? Should I hire one now? I wonder. I'm trying to remember. Do we need one? $250 gold. That's a lot. Inns allow characters to rest without using camping supplies. Cheap rooms are usually available, but if you have copper to spend, you may consider the more expensive options. The bonuses they provide last for a long time and affect the entire party. Last for 2 rest. That's pretty good. Okay, hold on. What was it that I wanted to... Does she sell camping supplies? Yep, she sure does. 60 gold for the camping supplies. From the party management screen, you can see what your allies are up to when they aren't in your party. If you assign them to adventures, you can see how long it will take them to complete their assignment. Recalling a companion or adventurer from a mission before it is completed will forfeit all the potential rewards for that assignment. I think I should just hire an adventurer, just to be safe. Make things a little bit easier for me. Okay. You're gonna hire male or female? If we hire a male, then all we're doing is just have sex all day. So let's go with female. Ew! What is this? What is this? Dear God. So how do godlocks the children of the kith who have been blessed with physical aspects associated with the gods? These aspects may take any form, often come with mystical powers. Aberrant head shapes are typical. And godlike are able to wear unable to hear protective headgear, as it is nearly impossible to find anything that fits because of their unusual nature and their inability to reproduce. So why would they even have male and female? Oh God, that looks pretty fucked up. Let's hire a cat person. Orland's the smallest of kith races, though the cultures don't consider them to be civilized at all. Large ears, two-tone skin, hirsute bodies, and Orlands are commonly found in Air, Glenfarth, and Insumal parts of the Deer Wood. They are known for their mental intensity and sharp senses. I want a because that either is going to be also a warrior, so maybe we just need a ranger or something, you know. So maybe we have to go with elf or something. Anyone else have dex? But dex is not necessarily hold on. She didn't take my money if I cancel, right?
Good day to you.
No, she didn't. Okay. Let's Let's just try to change something. Maybe 110 is not that bad. Okay.
Welcome.
That's still small. That doesn't even change. So I know, I'm pretty anal when it comes to these things.
Good day to you.
We need a ranger, so elf ranger maybe. Okay, so we have wood elf or pale elf. It's unclear exactly how long ago the pale elves, Glamfelin, came to the southern polar regions of the world, but they have lived there for at least 12,000 years based on their continuous contact with Almoa traders. They appear to be among the most stationary ethnic groups in the known world, migrating within the polar region but seldom venturing far north. They are rare in all northern lands, and most people consider them exotic if they have seen one at all. Elemental endurance, all pale elves have increased burn and freeze damage reductions. Oh, we want this one. Wood elf. Wood elf. Skeltrofluk. Skeltrofluk. Oh, that sounded fucked up. Trace their beginnings far north of present-day Ader, and have migrated south throughout the forest of the continent, now covering it all the way south across the equator. They are also believed to have migrated across the sea to Air Grandfarth. While physiologically identical to one another, wood elves from Ader are culturally different from those in Air Grandfarth and consider themselves wholly different groups. Distant advantage. Against any enemies that is more than 4 meters away, wood elves gain bonuses to accuracy, deflection, and reflex. Okay, we'll pick the wood elf then. And I'm gonna be a ranger. And then we also get free tank, off tank with the animal, so that's nice. Okay. Oh, we get to pick our companions. All rangers form a spiritual connection with a single creature, their animal companion. This connection allows rangers and their companions to coordinate attacks and efficiently take down prey. In most situations, the companion rends interference while the ranger attacks at range. Despite these advantages, there are risks to the relationship. Rangers share a literal life bond with their animal companions. When one is wounded, the can sense it. The can sense it. The other can sense it. So wow, they all those years in Kickstarter, and nobody caught this. Nobody picked a ranger ever. Apparently, the other can sense it and feel intense emotional pain. If a ranger or animal companion are knocked unconscious, their partner suffers from bonded grief, affecting accuracy and other stats until the down ally is revived. If a ranger is ever killed, the animal companion immediately dies from grief. But perhaps that's it's a strange kind of mercy, I guess, because you don't want to live without the other, you know. Lion. Boar. I think we're gonna go for bear. Animal companion name. Berath. Just to make fun of Berath. The god that they worship. But we spell it Berath. Berath. We'll spell it Berath. Okay. Well, Dex is not even like the most important one. Wow, really? Might is important for a ranger. That's interesting. Okay. The Living Lands is the mountainous region, a large northern island, renowned for its diversity of plants and animal life. Its weather is unpredictable and its ecosystem vary dramatically from valley to valley. The Living Lands are home to assortment of races and variety of colonial and independent settlements. We'll go with might, I guess. Since might is extremely important to a ranger. We'll give her lore and mechanics, maybe a stealth and survival. Okay. Maybe stealth and mechanics. Okay. This, oh no, that's not even the same person. These colors are really horrible, aren't they? You only got 3 options for the... Oh, yeah. Yeah, with the dark circles, yes. Not a lot of options here, so we might have to go with this one. Or that one's okay too. But that's more for the other type of elf, the light skin elf, the super pale. What was it called? Pale elf or whatever. Oh, that's similar but not the same. Helena Bonham Carter? Ay, ay, ay. There's no one with this hairstyle. I mean, there's no option for this. I guess it will have to be that one.
Yeah? Watch and learn. Yeah! A blade in the dark. Hmm?
I shall lead us. Finish them!
To whispers and shadows. Just say the word. I'll lead the way.
Death to our enemies!
Who is gonna be the Think of a name. I don't want Ingrid though. Ingrid's only for the main characters. Leaferia. Yeah. That's good. Yay. Okay.
Good day, stranger.
I could use some reliable help. Do you know of anyone looking for work? Oh, well, I wouldn't say I can speak from experience, but we do have certain sorts coming by looking for work from time to time. If you want to hire someone on, I'd be happy to send them your way. Okay. So I wonder how many you can create. I mean, it costs a lot of money. I mean, I'm sure you shouldn't be creating too many.
Welcome.
I'd like to know more about the Black Hound. Really? Well, let's see. The actual building's been here for years, but the Black Hound's fairly new. We get a lot of new faces in here too. Fewer than we used to, I'll admit. 10/5 the big draw. I'm sure we'll get big crowds back again in no time. I used to work the tables, actually, until the old owner up and left. Nobody's sure what happened to him. Even left his poor hound behind. That's the name, see? The Black Hound. It's still sitting upstairs, pining after him. Poor old girl. Oh, that's sad. You know. It's like you don't feel. I used to not feel for these things. Like, you know, when they say a dog. You know, I mean, like in movies when the dog is like able to avoid danger and then survive, like what is it called, 2021, that movie about the disaster where the dog actually was able to board the ark. I thought that was like super sappy, super like just it's not necessary. But after you own a dog, you understand why that's like important. You don't want the dog to die. But even, you know, knowing that though, if they have scenes where the dog didn't make it, I think it would be more powerful. Because you know, Hollywood movies, everybody makes it, even though you know in real life it doesn't work like that. Okay. Place ended up in my hands somehow. She laughs. My very own inn. Wouldn't that be cool? You just happen to work somewhere and then all of a sudden it becomes yours, without you having to spend any money on it. A lot of hard work involved, but it's been worth it so far. Please, sit where you like. Would you like a drink or a room? We have 2 available at the moment. I'm afraid we can't offer much by way of a good meal today. She sighs. Unless you're fond of cold porridge. Before we get a room, I want to confront this guy. There he is. Oh no, 10/5 is not the guy who no, this is the guy we saved. This is the cook we saved from the bandits. Spoons hang by the fire, coated in brownish gunk. Ah, it's you, my savior. He makes a sweeping gesture to indicate the kitchen around you. It's so good to be back. Do not think I will let this go unrewarded. I have decided that you have earned the right to learn one of my most closely guarded secrets, my dearest recipe. After this, you will eat nothing else. The party has gained a recipe, savory pie. A savory pie to keep you hale and hearty. May it serve you well in your travels. That's cool. I will name a dish in your honor. Really? So next time we come over here, there's going to be a dish called chatty or something, huh? Okay. Don't lie to me. Make it happen. Anyone seen Pearly around? He's usually drinking his head off this hour of the day. Used to have a lot more fortune tellers come through. Lord Redrick had us chase them off.
Huh?
Beg pardon, sir. Don't have much time for talking. Oh, is this stealing? Oh, no, this is not stealing. Okay. Wish we had some minstrels in here. Careful if you head east. Guards patrol the eastern wood, but not the Black Meadow. Good to see new faces around. Feels like the village gets smaller by the day. Okay, these guys are running out of things to say. And who are you then? Another fool come to answer Redrick's invitation? Our great lord had my sister run out of town after the boy was born. She was the only family I had left. Not sure where she is now. Blazes, I need another drink. Thought this place was going under after the owner left, but it's held out. Oh, really? As you near, you feel vibrant history contain the essence of this woman's soul. Voices from its past seem to call out to you. You see a woman emptying her satchel onto her bed, taking stock of her inventory. Potions, bandages, tinctures, and herbs are scattered throughout her room haphazardly. She bites her lip, head tilted to the side, considering. She begins to repack one item after the other. Careful deliberation undercut by shaking hands. Each item has a clearly marked place, but no matter how she repacks it, she isn't satisfied. The shaking worsens as she empties it out once more, one hand held to her mouth. Tears eke from her eyes as she gives up all semblance of order and shoves everything she can in the satchel, grabbing it and running out of the bare house. Straightening her back, she walks to the docks, chin high, eyes hard and red. A gangly young elf offers his condolences, but she can't see him for the ocean ahead of her. She wanders the docks, offering her services as a doctor to anyone who will listen, anyone heading out on high tide. Less than an hour later, she watches her childhood disappear in the distance, a tiny speck of an island, and tries not to jump. You see a group of young men standing around a makeshift practice target. This man stands in the middle of them, explaining the construction and use of a bow. He holds it up, pointing out each part as he speaks about it and what it does. He then walks away from the target, telling them to remain where they are, and takes his place about 200 feet away. He carefully lines up his shot, explaining what he's doing as he does, and lets the arrow fly. It hits the target dead center, much to the surprise and delight of the boys near it. He smiles, walking towards the boys, talking about proper stance and how to most effectively hold the bow. A noise comes from the tree line, near their practice venue and he stops, scanning the woods, blue eyes squinting against the sun. A shadow moves, making its way through the forest behind him. He draws an arrow and lines up his shot, carefully tracking the motion of the hidden creature. Loosing the arrow, he wastes no time, quickly grabs another. The boys spin, watching the arrow fly into the forest, immediately lost among the trees. There is sudden, explosive movement in the undergrowth as a deer erupts from the tree line, running across the edge of the clearing. The boys laugh, turning to joke with the man about his lousy shot. They stop talking, seeing him holding the bow and leading the deer with a knocked arrow. They drop to the ground as he loses his last arrow, which flies true and strikes the deer right behind its shoulder, piercing the heart and lungs and dropping it dead almost immediately. The boys stare at the deer for a few seconds and then slowly turn to look at the man, newfound respect in their eyes. He smiles again and breathes a quiet sigh of relief. Grab a drink, friend. Not much else worth in this town, says the woman from Thane. Hey, we said we wouldn't mention Thane. Oh. They all say the same thing? Okay. Roaches scatter and flee under the crates. Please leave me be. I am full of sickness with what I've seen of this place and its people. Oh, 10 years of dawn. Well, I figure it's like with any handsome lad in the pub, I don't much care to hear who he's been lying with before me. Yeah, who cares? As long as you don't have any diseases. Lockpick. Give that to her. You see a man soar the air, hitting a nearby wall with a nauseating crunch. He doesn't get up. His attacker, a burly, clean-cut warrior with a carnivorous grin, turns and shoves his fist into the stomach of another assailant, removing another from the impromptu brawl. The bar is a whirlwind of elbows, knees, fists, and feet, with no end in sight, and he is in his element. In a corner, 3 smaller men speak quietly, throwing malicious glances at the larger man in the center. He breaks a chair over a tattooed head, cackling. The trio position themselves in 3 parts of the room, and with a terse nod they charge. Unfortunately for them, the man sees them coming. Something in his eyes burns brightly, and all 3 slump to the ground in agony. That's all in their minds. The burly man bows to a room of the unconscious and incapacitated before sauntering out. Off-key whistle trailing behind him. I mean, some of these stories are just like matter of fact, you know. It's something that they've done, and then it's off no import. But some of them are like really, really interesting. You see an emancipated boy in chains, black holes for eyes, staring sightlessly at the wall. A man in a dark coat walks in, a scroll and oddly shaped quill in his hand. The boy glances at him, expressionless, a corpse waiting for animation. The man clucks at him, disapproval clear in his tone. The boy stands, limbs hanging. The man takes a quill and begins to write on the boy's chest, copying sharp, angular symbols from the scroll. The child doesn't flinch as the quill digs into his skin, drawing blood as it goes. The wizard finishes with a flourish and barks some arcane command, setting the symbols to grow dully. The boy cries out, knees hitting the stone hard, his chest burning black and red. Finally the glow disappears, leaving only hard black scars etched into his skin. He slumps sideways, twitching, eyes facing the back of his skull. The wizard grunts, kicking him on the leg on his way out. The boy lies on the floor until dawn, eyes still black like holes, the twitches growing into convulsive shakes. Is he... Shane Shakes Mulrian. I guess he was that boy. You see a long, empty road cutting through two large crop fields. The air is silent and the land seems too still for early afternoon. This woman walks slowly on the road, leading a horse, curiously looking around. She seems to sense something wrong, but is unable to discern what it is. She stops, sniffing at the air, her nose high. Her brow crinkles, and she casts about, looking for something. The air is clear, no clouds. She sniffs again, still looking around. Confusion clouding her face, mouthing a single word, fire? She looks out across the fields, her confusion turning to fear. She holds her hand up to block the sun from her eyes and scans the field again. Not finding what she was looking for, she jumps onto the horse's back, and the fear quickly becoming panic. She kicks, sending the horse shooting down the path, which bends around the trees to where the farmhouse should be. She pulls up short, horror now in residence on her face, as she stares at the burned and charred mess that used to be her family's home. Tears well in her eyes as she kicks again, racing into the rubble. Is that her, though? Sela Ammon. Okay. Just want to see this dog over here, right? Oh, here's the doggy. Poor doggy. I'm gonna take care of my doggy. They're just begging like crazy over here. This hound stares intently at the covered window, head cocked as if waiting to hear a particular sound. It looks up when you approach and whines a low note, tail wagging slightly. Poor thing. Yoshi has a horrible separation anxiety because if she's left alone, goes crazy, howling and all that shit. Sorry, girl, I don't think he's coming back. The dog whines softly again, head tilting. Well, you can come with me. Maybe we'll find him on the way. The dog's ears perk up. It trots over you and barks happily. The small dog has a glossy black coat and a affable disposition. She trots along at your heels, gazing up devotedly whenever you come to stop. Poor thing. Yoshi. Look at that bear. This is the last one. There you go. Chew, chew, chew. No more. That's it. That's all I'm willing to give you, baby. No more. And I told her that's not the pistol. You see what that's funny to you? You see a small group of people gathered around the ruins of a house. The destruction continues from a single dwelling through the entire village. Not a single building still stands. Rubble is scattered everywhere. One of the men in the group leans over something in the debris. It is this man, younger, barely more than a boy. The man reaches out and shakes the boy by the shoulder. The boy makes no sound and doesn't respond to the man's disturbance. The man looks up at the other members of the group and shrugs, standing to rejoin his friends. The boy suddenly sits up, eyes wide. He scrabbles backwards, away from the group, looking around in horror. The group moves around toward him in unison, eliciting a yelp from the boy, who tries to move farther away. A woman in the group puts out her hands, stopping to rest. She turns to them reproachfully, motions for them to stay away, then looks at the boy on the ground, who is trying to push himself through what remains of a wall. He seems unaware he has even stopped. The woman slowly moves towards the boy, hands out, speaking in a low, calming tone. For a time, the boy doesn't even hear. He just closes his eyes and braces himself against the wall, expecting violence. Eventually, the woman's word works through the fear, and he hears her. He opens his tear-filled eyes and stares at her. She holds out a hand to him. He looks at it, seemingly confused by the offer, then hesitantly reaches out. She takes his hand in hers and leans down to help him stand. You see a lone man standing in a field. He looks around, surveying the crops. Occasionally he bends to examine a leaf up close. He is intent on what he's doing, completely absorbed in his work. This man approaches him from behind. He moves slowly, but does nothing to mask his approach. In his hand he holds a large sword. There appears to be no malice or hatred in the man's demeanor. He almost seems pleased. The first man hears his approach and stands, turning away from the plant he was inspecting. His face breaks into a smile, and he opens his arms to welcome the approaching man. The smile freezes into a grimace as the second man thrusts the sword through his stomach, its blade now protruding from his back. His arms slowly fall to his side, and blood starts to drip from the sword onto the plants below the man. As the first man crumples to his knees, the second man pulls the swords out, a tear slowly falling down the cheek of his still smiling face. You know, it's like, that's what makes these, like, snippets so good, because sometimes you don't know what's really going on. You know, you're getting just, like, a really small history of the person that... Oh my god, Yoshi's here already? Small history of what's going on with that particular individual, you know. Are you serious, Yoshi? Why is it that you're only harassing me? I'm not the only person in this house. Jeez. This worn dog-eared book is titled Travels Upon the Selglass Sea. There is an etched illustration of a vast fin leviathan. A dear wooden woman is standing in front of the fireplace, humming a quiet tune to herself, or perhaps to her unborn child, for she is clearly quite pregnant. She turns her head slightly as you enter.
Well met, friend.
Well, finally I was starting to think. The woman makes a startled noise when she turns around and sees you. Oh, I'm sorry. I was expecting someone else. She gives you a cautious smile. Can I help you? Who are you expecting? My sister, Kalisha, is traveling with one of the caravans. She sent a letter before she came. She said she was going to pay her way by working as a guard for the caravan master. She always was a tough one. She pauses. I don't assume you've seen her on the road, or the caravan, perhaps. It's Master Odema's... The caravan was attacked and we escaped, but Kalisha was caught in a bivouac. Alfra covers her mouth with her hand, eyes wide with horror. For a moment she can manage nothing but a strangled, voiceless gasping, and her eyes brimming with tears. I knew. I told her it was a dangerous path to take. Kalisha was always so certain she could take on any danger. Alfra sniffs. Oh, my poor sister. I'm sorry, stranger. I can't believe she's gone. If only I hadn't called her here. If I hadn't written to her, she might still be alive somewhere. Offra's face crumples, and a solitary tear slides down her cheek. Quit just sniveling. Kalisha mentioned that she thought you needed help. Perhaps I can provide some assistance? Offra looks at you with some surprise before dabbing at her nose with a sleeve. That's kind of you to offer, but I don't know if I could impose this on you. It's not a small favor. Offra wipes at her eyes. I'm worried about the baby, about the legacy. I told Kalisha as much as I could, but all I know is that for a long time now, every child born in Gilded Vale has been soulless, empty. It happened to so many mothers, and Lord Redrick, he's exiled all of them, calling it a sign of the gods' disfavor, she sniffs. With my Hathort gone, I don't know how I manage if I lost my home too. Are you serious? I turn to my left and here's this dog. Oh my god. That's it, Yoshi. I hope Kalisha could help me. They say Ranga, the old midwife, knows a way to prevent a child being hollow-born, but she moved south to Aslog Compass 2 seasons ago. The journey's too far from me. I can't make it as I am, but I don't have anyone else now with Kalisha gone. More tears run down her face. Please, can you help me? Oh, now you're trapped, you can't leave. That's a long ways to go. What's in it for me? I think that's fair. I can offer you coin, but Ranga has many potions and crafts for sale. Maybe you'll find something of interest, so it wouldn't be a wasted trip. She sniffs. I'm sorry, I don't have much. You're welcome to some of my food if you want. I have some fruit I'll find Ranga for you. Afra blinks, eyes wide. You will? Oh, God's bless you. Here, I'll give you a coin to pay her with. You needn't trouble yourself with that. I think it's a drink she fashions out of, well, I'm not sure. Fashioned out of hollow-born babies. But it shouldn't be too much of a burden to carry back. Anslog's compass is what we call the lagoon to the south. You'll have to cross the wilds to get there. And that's what keeps me from trying it myself. She clasps her hands together. Thank you again, truly. You'll be saving us both. She sets a hand on his stomach, smiling through her tears.
Welcome.
Any chance you could tell me a few things about the Gilded Veil? I can certainly try. What would you like to know? Whose lands are these? The Redrick family has held title over these lands for generations. Their keep is northeast of here, past the eastern wood. She holds up a hand. I wouldn't go near, mind. He doesn't see visitors or petitioners, not these days. Some people say that, well, there are some bad seeds out in that line. A weakest soul. Maybe that's why she hesitates. Well, never mind. I'm sure Lord Redrick has his reasons. Tell me about the village. Let me think. We're farmers mostly, but there has always been work and opportunity for people coming in from elsewhere. In the old days, at least. The Black Hammer Smitheries have been here for a long time. That's Tao Tanu's place, south of the mill. And then there's the Black Hound, just a ways south of here. She sighs, trailing off. I have to admit, I don't go out much anymore. With that horrible tree out there, things aren't like they used to. But I don't have anywhere else to go. I don't have any more questions. Was there anything else? No. You know, once you start hanging people on a tree, that's when you should just, really leave, right? Don't think these rains would be a boon for our crops. Oh, we got both volumes. This bottle of Sun Red is half empty. This man and woman appears to have been deep in conversation, working at closing two bulging satchels. They move to embrace until the woman notices you approach and pauses, her smile faltering a little.
Hail, traveler.
Can we help you? She looks to her companion, brows furrowing with confusion. Do you know this man, Norton? Oh, Norton. Yes, I think we met in the Valewood. I warned him about the bear. He inclines his head. Glad to see you've made it. Was there something else you wanted? You two are in good spirits for someone who just lost a friend. That's unkind of you to say. I'm grieving my husband in my fashion. I'm only sorry I could not convince him to leave the Gilded Vale before this happened. I'm relieved to be rid of this terrible place. That's all. It's cost me a greater part of my life, and now my husband. I'm glad to be free of it. I know what really happened in the bear cave, Norton. The color drains from Norton's face. I don't know what you mean. I told you the truth of it. Are you accusing him of something? Ingrid. Oh, is it a cooler way to spell Ingrid? Looks to Norton, touching his arm. If this is about the accident, we're both grieving Pearlie's loss, but it was a wild animal's doing. Norton shakes his head minutely. You see a tremble in his hands. What would make you suggest such a thing? Oh, we have enough resolve. Stop. I have no patience for cowards and liars. Norton flinches, but meets your gaze. After a moment, he sets his jaw and nods. Fine, I confess it. I did it. I saw to it he'd never leave that cave. His hand falls to his sword belt, and I'd do it again. Norton, wait, Ingrid raises her hand. I don't know what you saw in that cave, but this isn't what you think. Pearlie, my husband, he was as much a beast as that bear. I tried to leave the first time I suffered his temper, but he wouldn't have it. She looks away, expression pain. Norton, we met, and I knew I'd found someone special, someone kind, who cared for me. Please, all I want is to leave this place, to start somewhere else. She looks down at the satchels. We've some coins saved up. You could have it if you'll only let us go. This is an interesting situation. I don't remember this. She claimed that the husband is abusive. But this meeting is very suspicious. You know, I mean, the way that it's done. She could just be saying that just because, you know, she's lying. You know, I'm very tempted to just attack. Yeah, because it just seems too convenient for me. Why? And why was he... What were they doing when we first come in here? They're about ready to leave. This is a real dilemma. But they didn't have to kill him, though. I mean, that's the thing. They could have just left. Why did they have to kill him? No, they're getting killed. Blind fool, Nantan draws his blade. You won't take this from us, not for that wretch. Yeah, because they didn't have to kill him. They could have just left. That's my feeling.
Let's go.
Deflection, eh?
Right. Right.
Wow, you can engage 3. I like confident aim. I think I'll go with confident aim. Wizards have access to a variety of offensive personal defense spells. Unlike priests and druids, wizards learn individual spells that they store in and cast directly from their grimoires. Grimoires can only hold 4 spells for each spell level, which motivates wizards to keep multiple grimoires for different needs. Every 2 levels, wizards gain access to an additional set of spells. What? I don't understand this part. Yoshi, are you serious? Every 2 levels, wizards gain access to an additional set of spells. Okay. However, they can automatically learn 1 spell of any level they can access each time they advance. That is very confusing. Every 2 levels, you get access to an additional set of spells. Fine. Are you talking about level-wise? But you can automatically learn one spell of any level. What? That's just crazy talk is what that is. Whoever wrote that was nuts. There's a better way to explain that. Okay, Yoshi, that's enough. That's enough, baby. Yeah, you can't even eat anymore. Yeah, your body is saying no, no more, no more, no more. I'm just eating too much. Gotta spit it out. That's it, sweetheart. You know, you just ate dinner and then now you want snacks. You know, just that's enough. And then we don't even know which spells I already have. You know, I mean, that's also makes it difficult for you to kind of see where he's at right now, spells wise. Yeah, because I want to see what spells he has now. It's ridiculous. How do I even check that? So I have 5 level 1 wizard spells. And then with the grimoire, yeah, Yoshi, you can just stare at me. You're not gonna get anything. It's getting ridiculous, girl. Okay. I think wizard double is important. Okay. Okay. Okay, that's self-shielding. Infused with vital essence. So that's more like for a tanky melee wizard, like. Yoshi, that's enough, sweetheart. You're not gonna get any more. Oh gosh, she is so spoiled now. I know, baby. But you can't eat non-stop. That's just crazy, Yoshi. Okay, going from one side to the next, Yoshi, it doesn't help. It really doesn't help. You think that just because you move from the left to the right that things are gonna change? Dear Lord. Cold rot chew. Staple of Deerwood countryside. Cold rot chew is favorite farmers. Oh, this is another one that has a negative effect for 5 minutes after you eat it. It's served by the minor boost of energy it produces. Those who use it often find that they feel sluggish when they stop. The chew is made from the root of golden celery plant. I like the way this is like the the way this works, like in the game. You know, where it says you get this for this long, and then you get this negative stats for like this long after you take it. Springberry, is that new? Ooh, Baron's Bell. This flowering plant has drooping flowers of a somber blue and gold shade. Both the sweet-smelling leaves and berries of the plant are known to be extremely poisonous, toxic to grazing animals and people alike. Dang. Cave coral. This peculiar red fungus is typically found in damp caves. Its hollow, cage-like formations resemble sea coral, from which it takes its name. Okay. Oh, that's stealing. There's a part 3, but I can't take it because it's stealing. Can we read it and then not, but we don't steal it? Oh, look at how long this shit is, though. We're gonna just save books until like there's a little bit of a downtime, and we'll read it because I'm already reading through all the soul fucking stories. You know, I mean it's a lot. And I've read through this like so many times. Red scurry behind the sacks. You see a key turn gently, steady, and hear the ghostly click as the door swings inward. 2 figures slip in, locking the doors behind them, and begin their prowl. Their hunt is efficient, and it takes them little time to acquire a sizable collection of documents and oddly shaped velvet pouches, quick hands, fill pockets, rucksacks, bags. The door opens downstairs and everything freezes. Footsteps, a tired giggle. The thieves are all eye white and short breath as they empty their pockets of all but the necessities. Anything noisy hurriedly replaced. Silence from downstairs. Then tentative steps up the staircase. A voice calls out. One thief creeps forward, and the other gesticulating wildly for him to return. He continues forward, crouching by the banister. He sees a gaudy shoe and shoves. The woman falls with a cut-off scream, rolling lifelessly to the floor below. Swearing, the second thief grabs her brother and they make their escape, collecting whatever value they can on the way out. And then I liked the way that these are written, like they're written as if you're supposed to know what's going on, like you're in the middle of a story, but then you won't know what's going on because you're in the middle of a story, it's because that's all you're seeing in your vision. So it's very well done. You see a crowded marketplace, vendor stalls lining the road, the proprietor's voices calling out to passerby to come sample their wares. This woman wanders through the throngs, strolling hand in hand with another woman. They peruse the vendor's goods, tarrying at a book merchant with a number of old and beautiful tomes, chatting with one another about what they see. One will pick up a book and show it to the other, who will take it, comment on it, and place it back onto its shelf. Then the first will snatch up the book again and quickly pay the merchant before the other can snatch it back. They walk away from the market weighed down by packs filled with books, still hand in hand, standing close, comfortable and familiar with each other. As they pass down a somewhat deserted street, an object suddenly hits this woman in the chest and bounces off, rolling away toward one of the buildings. The women stop and look at the object. An apple, and then back up at the person who threw it. There is nothing special about him aside from the angry look on his face and the two other apples he holds. Before either woman can move, the man draws back and throws another one at them, this time hitting the second woman in the forehead. He yells at them, something derisive and hateful, something about a legacy and about responsibilities. The woman raises her hand to her head and wipes the juice and bits of fruit from her and stares the man down defiantly. The first woman squeezes her hand and puts the other on her companion's shoulder, attempting to calm her down. The other woman pulls a book from her pack and holds it before her, muttering under her breath. She pulls her hand free and waves it above the book, an aura forming around her. The first woman is still trying to calm her down, but all she says goes unheard. The man, uncaring of the events happening in front of him, draws back and throws the last apple. As it arcs through the air towards them, the second woman brings up her hand and points at the apple. The glowing orb of energy flies from her hand and strikes the apple, causing it to explode, raining bits of apple down on the road and buildings around them. The man's face changes, anger joined by fear, looking like he's trying to decide if running or attacking is the better course of action. The second woman has started chanting again, her hand glowing, her eyes narrowing. This woman steps in front of her, placing herself between her love and their attacker. She touches her face, gently stroking it while listening calming words, a kiss. The woman's countenance changes. She calms, her eyes softening, her lips regaining the lost smile. The first woman smiles again as well and kisses the other. "Wizard scum," the man behind them says, and the two women turn to face him, staring him down defiantly. They join hands and begin walking again, moving past him without much as a sideways glance. This one is very good because it's like you think that they were homophobic, but they were actually more, especially talking about the legacy, which is the curse, and responsibilities, I guess, bearing children. But it's more about them being wizards and how maybe that's an affront to the gods and maybe it's causing part of the problem with the legacy. But that's the reason behind the hatred instead of being lesbian lovers. So in this world, I guess homosexuality is not the problem. which should be like where we're at now in this on this earth. But in a lot of places, they just still can't accept that. Yeah, that's just very well written. Can't steal her book though. I want that volume 3, but I guess we have to come back later maybe. You see a large crowd gathered in the middle of a courtyard. This man stands in the midst of them, a cloak pulled over his head, holding it close around his neck. The crowd has congregated around the platform, and they all watch, transfixed, as a man is led to the platform, flanked by 2 guardsmen. The man is shackled hand and foot, but carries himself as a nobleman, not deigning to even glance at the crowd. The cloaked man pulls his cover closer around his face and turns to leave, hunching over to avoid being seen. A cry on the platform unrolls the parchment and begins to read, but the man pays no attention, intent on getting away from the courtyard. The crier's voice grows louder and more intense as he reads, and voice from the crowd start to puncture his sentences. The jeers and shouts grow more frequent and with each other. The cloaked man flinches and his shoulders droop. He breaks from the crowd, coming to the edge of the courtyard as the crier reaches the end of his proclamation. The crowd grows silent again, save for the occasional shout. The man turns back to look at the platform, seeing his father kneeling before the block, neck exposed. The executioner moves into positioning, lifting his axe to strike. The man turns suddenly, unable to watch. There's a wet thunk, and the crowd breaks into cheers and applause. He leans against the wall, regaining his composure, then straightens up. With obvious resolve, he strides off, away from the crowd and his legacy. Okay. I thought that he was also being walked up the and he's a plain statue, whatever they're called here. How is it? I thought the plain statue they don't procreate. How? So is it his dad? Maybe his stepdad or something? As you near, you feel a vibrant history. Okay, I have to read that. You see a pair of immaculately polished leather boots and impeccably maintained goatee. Ew. Their owner, a slightly hook-nosed man with a wicked grin and narrow eyes. He bobs his feathered hat at a nearby merchant as he ambles by, a small piece of parchment held tight in his fist, ink staining his fair fingers. He seems to know most of the merchants in the market, stopping to engage some, nodding at others, and even bartering for minor goods with a select few, always smiling, laughing, and exchanging jibes. He approaches a heavy-set Almoa, smile plastered stiff across his face, and jokes about the weather. She jokes back, subtly palming him several gold coins. When he walks away, the paper in his hands is gone, and the smile on his face far more genuine. He tips his caps at her, winking, and trundles off with a new spring in his step. Despite the rains, the stalks feel as dry and stiff as a locust husk. I guess we have to go. Yeah, we have to try and go over there. We know there's more grain in there, Trumbull. We won't settle for scraps while you grow fat on our crops. A muffled shouting emerges from inside the mill. The first of you drunkards come through that door gets a shot between the eyes. Gods, hear me, Swainer. I'll put you down like a dog. Come away for now, lads, but we'll be back, Trumbull. And we'll have fair prices, or by the flame, we'll have a reckoning. An elven man stands before you, his relatively stocky build suggesting a life of labor. His face is pale and drawn, and his eyes wide. Behind him, a younger man and woman exchange worried glances. The miller raises a club as you enter. It shakes violently in its grip. Get back if you value your life. Put that down before you get yourself hurt. Resolve. Trumbull only raises the club higher. I mean it. I won't have Swainer and his lackeys threatening me in my own mill. My name is Chadius Maximus. I've only just arrived in Gilded Vale. Trumbull shakes his head. You picked a bad time to come visiting Gilded Vales. Had all its shine scraped off. Just a big dung heap now. And Swainer thinks he's the king of it. They're all of them mad. Who's Swainer? The dwarf, the one standing out there spreading lies among the villagers. Bastard's been here for decades and he hasn't gotten any kinder with time. The miller hesitates, then lowers his club a fraction. Who are you? Is Swainer roping foreigners into his little crusade now? I don't like being threatened. We have that in common then, Trumbull says, raising his chin a little. With all the poison Swainer's dripping in their ears, it's not going to be long before someone decides they'd rather do things the messy way, and I won't let anything happen to my family. What was all the ruckus inside? Trumbull shakes his head. Where to begin? Swainer's whipped them up into a froth, going on about the grain stores. Claims I've hidden away most of it. All I do with the grain is sell it. I can't create it out of thin air, and I can't hand it out for free. I pay the farmers for the crops they bring in, and I sell what comes out of the mill. Most of it goes to the Black Hound on the west side of town for ale, and Swainer and his lot sure don't mind that part. You take a look at the fields on the way into town. The crop's blighted. And most of what I'm getting from the farmers, Trumbull gestures to the sacks and containers. It's gone off, rotted through. I can't pay top prices for blighted wheat, and I've barely enough good grain to go around. Swainer's howling after things he has no right to. If you don't want those people in here with torches, maybe you ought to stop lying to me. Trumbull blinks, taken aback. I'm not. Look, it's not a lie. The stores really are low, and with so little grain going around, I had to raise prices for some people. There are folks in this town that deserve far better than Swainer and his lot. People who have done more for Gilded Vale. I don't have enough intellect, apparently. Swainer's people are farmers. They gathered that grain for you. They sure didn't mind losing that grain when it was going into the drinks at the inn. They don't make like kind neighbors when they insult my son, go stumbling drunk through my own crops. You think they're the only ones that need to eat. Now, the crops are sick and the wind's too weak to get the windmill turning. Our villagers' children are born as empty shells. That's not my doing. This place is cursed, and Swainer and the others haven't done a thing to help the rest of us through the lean season. Is your self-righteousness worth losing your family over? Trumbull opens his mouth to protest, but his expression shifts into resignation well before he finally nods and speaks. You're right, he says quietly. I've been trying to plan for the future, but we're in danger here and now. Fine, tell Swainer and the others that I have reconsidered. Provided he pays the same as everyone else, he's welcome to his share fare. Trumbull sighs. And let's hope we can trade for supplies real soon, or we'll be in a bad way. You're going through stores faster than I feared. This won't last. You'll regret this, and so will Swainer, when the town's starving around him. You've got what you wanted. Leave us alone. Oh, that's stealing. They don't show you where things are, right, to report your quests. So you have to kind of look around. Swainer has a house, though. Nope. Did we already go to that house? No, we haven't. Who's that? Just a villager. You hear those bells? Guess it's bad news. Usually is. That shifty little Orlin better watch himself. Dented and dull, these swords look ready for the forge. Okay. The bellows sigh into the furnace, and the coals burn brighter still. Don't tell Tanu. I think Destin over in the first fires might have the edge on him. Is there really like two different... Oh, I have to step out. You see a group of adventurers surrounded by a crowd attacking Zarebs. This man is with them, seemingly unconcerned by the battle, even detached from it as he stands in the middle of his comrades, chanting, his expression bordering on elation. His voice is powerful and deep, booming out across the combatants as a rich counterpoint to the chaos of the fighting. With every phase, the battlefield changes. His allies grow with pulsing blue light, freezing the Zarebs that surround him. A blazing pyre erupts from the ground, cutting and burning the creatures. and sending them scattering. One of the fallen Zareb suddenly explodes as 3 giant grubs crawl from its corpse and attack the remaining enemies. The man continues to chant, thoroughly enthralled in the joy of the moment. Finally, the creatures have been reduced to 1. His allies land back as the man approaches. Still chanting, he removes his hammer and swings it at the Zareb. His phrase ends as the hammer connects with its head, puncturing the spell and bringing his song to an end. Punctuating the spell. That's cool, so he's a bard. Steel collar. You see a man crouching, surreptitious and alone, a series of untamed shrubs, all that hides him from the vision ahead. His eyes are locked on Adelimgan, beautiful and terrible, eyes half-lidded as she hums. A bird with fantastic blue and orange plumage sits on her shoulder, trilling gently, and the man is in trance. Trembling, tentative, he stands, and the tranquility is broken by the bird's startled squawk. The Adelimgan half smiles, beckoning with twig-like fingers. She does not speak as he approaches. His mouth is dripping sound of awe and admiration. She waits, coy and tempting, and with agonizing slowness he is before her. Then something changes. She sees something hanging limply from his side and begins to hiss. Fingers, suddenly claws, and eyes black with hate. He has no time to reach for his axe or grimoire as she strikes, and as soon as she strikes, she is gone, the only evidence of her existence, the shuddering wreck on the ground. He grabs at his grimoire nevertheless and begins to chant, but the words of a magical language, of his own imagining, scribbled in maniacal shorthand, ring hollow, and the silence continues unabated. He turns and shrugs at someone or something, but if there is something there, you do not see it. This Al-Mu'a man is an impressive build, towering above the countertop. His skin is the dusky blue of the deeper oceans, and his thick arms boast corded muscle. Small ears frame a square-jawed face coated in smeared soot and arching black tattoos alike. He offers you a broad smile as you approach. Welcome. You're the first new face I've seen in quite some time. What can I do for you? What do you have here? You come to us at a strange time, I'm afraid. The stock's not what it used to be, but we've fine weapons and armor to offer yet. All forged here, right here at the Black Hammer. What happened? We just don't have the supplies. Been expecting the next delivery for near on a week now and haven't seen a sight of it. Have to expect they were hit by bandits. The road out east is crawling with them. Or my workers ran off with a wagon themselves, maybe, to make some coin. Tautanu snorts, as if that lot would dare. He's right about the bandits. The dire situations in villages like this and the exodus to cities has created far too many opportunities for unscrupulous sorts. Tautanu scratches his jaw, thinking. If you happen to be headed that way, maybe you could keep an eye out for a supply wagon, or my shipment at least. They'd be cutting through the Black Meadow, I expect, but good road for it. Only good road for it. As it is, most of our weapons go to His Grace, Lord Redrick. Tautanu glances at the nearby guard. And that's as it should be, but it doesn't leave me much for outsiders. We just don't have the iron. I'll see them back safe and sound. I'd appreciate your trying, anyhow. You bring back the supplies, at least I'll have much more to offer you. A discount to start, and if you do find my workers, you give them a good smack upside the head for me.
Hail, traveler.
Oh, I need to see if this is an upgrade for her. Oh, she just needs, she does needs a double dagger here. Okay.
Hail and well met.
Okay. Wait, what does that do? Oh, shift. If you shift click, it moves it to the stash.
Gods keep you.
You have to drag these every single time. Control? No. I like how they put eater over there. Like they put a marker for eater. So was this guy in here for that quest? I don't think he's in here. I don't know where he is.
Well met, friend.
Your sleep is restless and fevered, assaulted by hisses and whispers, blanketed with a suffocating anxiety. You open your eyes to awaken and find yourself in front of the Gilded Vale's gallows tree, the creaking of its ropes growing louder in your mind until the sound is deafening. Hanging from the tree is an old dwarf woman whose face has shriveled inward like smoldering fruit. Her head hangs limply to one side. As you look at her, she looms larger and larger in your mind until she is mere inches from your face. Suddenly her head snaps up and her eyes open. And they are empty, and behind them is a vast nothingness that makes your stomach drop. Her mouth slowly parts, and with a gust of rancid air, she speaks the word. Watch her. You jolt awake, the foul smell of the dwarf woman's breath still permeating your nostrils. Sweat runs down your face in thick droplets, and your skin is soaked from head to toe. You remember the woman. You remember seeing her decaying face when you spoke with the magistrate. He called her an animancer. Though it fills you with a new, queasy apprehension, you feel a strange compulsion to see this woman once more, if only to confirm she is truly dead. I really want to finish that quest with the grain situation, but I don't know where these guys are at. Maybe over here. Have you been to Defiance Bay? With the roads like they are? I'll stay put. So where are the dwarf? I mean, Sauder, whatever his name is. You would think that he would be like really easy to get to. Like he would just be like standing around this group of people, but apparently not. It's like we're gonna be looking around all over the fucking village and hey, we got this task completed for you. We got the situation resolved for you, but where are you? Ew. Okay, this is a lesbian wizard's house. This is the Ingrid's. So where is this guy? We don't know where this guy is. It's crazy. I know I can't enter that. This is ridiculous. This quest, this task against the grain. The farmers have headed to the local inn for the time being. I was just there. This is crazy. crazy. Swainer is likely to be at the inn. At the inn where? Oh, there he is. Shit. I was blind. Fucking magistrate. Half as a starving and doesn't lift a finger. If you're not an ale, I don't want a business with you. Have a business with you.
Hail, traveler.
Don't know who you are and don't care much. Keep walking. We're not here to chat with foreigners. Aloth narrows his eyes. Careful. Looks like they're cut from the same cloth as those rowdies who attacked me. He wrinkles his nose. Smells like it too. I saw you outside of the mill. What was that about? Well, someone fancies themselves a meddler, eh? What's that about? It's about Trumbull thinking he's the king of the town, on account of he's got the mill to his name. The dwarf jowls quiver with rage. It's about him barely giving us anything for the wheat we bring him, and then cutting our purses when we need to buy grain. It's about farmers going hungry while some bastard gets rich off their crops. That's what it's fucking about. Now shove off. What are you doing in here then? What does it look like? Drinking till I forget how much I want to put a pitchfork through Trumbull's face. What if I told you that Trumbull's changed his mind about his grain prices? The dwarf looks up, blinking. Are you serious? He exchanges looks with his fellows, who grins hesitantly. The old man's listened to reason? About time. I told him he'd come around, but damn, if he didn't take his time about it. He sets a few coppers on the table. Here, buy yourself a drink. Now that we can afford it, goes for you too as well. Drinks on me. Jesus. Can't thank you enough. Might be we'll last the season for now.
Huh?
No. Glad you got Trumbull to see sense. It's gotten so the rats were looking appetizing. If you're not an ale,
Sure.
that guy's just like,
Huh?
here's something about the ale. Alright, I think I should stop here. 2.5 hours. It doesn't even feel like 2.5 hours, to be honest. Let's level up our ranger here. Looking like Vala. Stealth. We want a resilient companion. Yep. It's gonna be an off tank. Or the actual tank, because my warrior is gonna have some damage going on. So. Alright, so we're gonna save next to the dwarves' corpse here. Okay. Yeah, that was fun. Till next time.